life been a derelict. All my friends, they wish me dead. They wish me dead. Every day is filled with dread. Filled with dread. All my life been a derelict. I've got the turning clue. Swallowing me, falling into everything that I do. Everything I kiss so I'm feeling so typical. I've got the turning clue. Swallowing me, falling into everything that I do. Everything I kiss so I'm feeling so typical. I've been a derelict, never change it, I swear to it. And of all the times I've been down and out, this time was different, I welcomed it. Every day that I fail to quit, I wind up here and just state I'm in. The heavy weight, cause it's bound to break, I need a break, the skin I'm in. Tip of my tongue tastes like battery acid. Try to push forward, I cannot push past it. Feel the blood on my tongue, it tastes metallic. Another day passes, I don't break the habit. I've got the turning clue. Swallowing me, falling into everything that I do. Everything I kiss so it feels so typical. I've got the turning clue. Swallowing me, falling into everything that I do. Everything I kiss so it feels so typical. So typical. I've got the turning clue. Swallowing me, falling into everything that I do. Everything I kiss so it feels so typical. I've got the turning clue. Swallowing me, falling into everything that I do. Everything I kiss so it feels so typical. There's been plenty of moments that I fell in hard times. More often than not, getting faded was my lifeline. I realized that I've always struggled with change, but sometimes you gotta rearrange before you go insane. I've been doing my best to stay true to myself, put my next foot forward and smoking dope for my health. I never give up the music till I'm rolling in wealth. Some days I swear this basement's my own personal hell. Well, I love the sound of the city. Goddamn, I love the sound of the city. Yeah, yeah. I'm wide awake when you're with me. I feel better when you got my back, yeah. Red eyes, I'm sky high. I think this might be the best night that I've ever had, that I've ever spent with you. I confess I'm obsessed with the sex. Heart palpitations every time that she texts. I admit that we ain't always been the best for each other, but what is love without the little test? Girl, you know you're my sneaky link. When I'm with you, my ego shrink. I'm just craving time for us alone. I think about you every time I'm home smoking dope. I love the sound of the city. Goddamn, I love the sound of the city. Yeah, yeah. I'm wide awake when you're with me. I feel better when you got my back, yeah. Red eyes, I'm sky high. I think this might be the best night that I've ever had, that I've ever spent happen with you.
What's up, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Sorry, I messed up the intro for the live stream. I thought that the video was playing and it wasn't. Gonna cover things pretty quick. Getting a fire sale and a lot of stuff. Still very, very bullish. A lot of alts that pumped pretty hard are down double digits. Doge is down 22% today. I mean, some of the ones I'm looking at are down quite a lot. So really, really solid. Really looking forward to scooping up some of those lows and letting it ride for likely the next year. So going to start first, S&P 500, as always. We're finally getting a market pullback. Finally. I know I've been kind of repetitive about it since about here, and we rode all the way up, right? Guys, I have a lot of different reasons for that, and I'm more than happy to be wrong, right? I missed out on like 40%. Definitely sucks. Not too proud of it, but again, I was buying all the way through here, so I really didn't miss anything. Trading wise, I definitely missed the trade upwards. Like, so for those of you who don't know, I have a long-term like DCA, and then I have like a swing trade account, right? So my long-term DCA captured all the games. I definitely missed the swing trade here. So unfortunate, very unexpected. And again, we pumped a lot in part not due to TA and charts, but more due to fundamentals. Whether you want to agree with that or disagree, we literally full sent due to all of these different institutions really splurge buying the remaining supply on Bitcoin. So let's just talk SPX real quick. So for the last couple weeks, I haven't been live streaming a whole lot, and I do apologize for that. Looking forward to getting back on a better schedule. But I've been telling the everyone in the private analysis, we're still very, very bullish. And ultimately, and I've said it every day for the last 4 weeks, we could do something like this, right? Have a pullback, consolidate, go up, right? That is still a bull flag, right? There's really nothing technically or fundamentally that is very bearish on the S&P 500 and really in crypto in general. We're due for a flush, got it, so we can consolidate, retest, nasty move up, only clowns, and didn't expect to pull back and are crying, yeah. And like the thing is like, unfortunately, and I'll get into explaining my whole thought process there, and maybe it'll make sense. Maybe it won't. Maybe some of you are like, screw this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But for the last 4 years, I've been doing the same thing and I've been mostly correct. So missing out on one move, it doesn't really kill me. Like, I'm fine. So kind of back with SPX. Guys, if we move down, have that correction, we're still looking upwards. We have that big macro arrow upwards. Lots of reasons to be bullish. Not going to spend too much time here. The dollar. So the dollar did reject our resistance at 104. Looking to head down, and maybe we have like a larger consolidation in here during this kind of bull run. Again, I don't know if any of you know my complete thought process on this, but in my opinion, we're at kind of like the tail end of our long-term bull run. So our 13 or 14 year long bull run, we're likely at the tail end of it, right? We're likely going to go to sit somewhere in between here and then crash. The tail end move is usually the most volatile, the quickest, the most unexpected. A lot of people sell before that move higher. A lot of people end up buying the top, and then we dump. If you think of crypto, think of like a blow off top. Like, no one expects a blow off top, right? It just happens and then we move lower from there and start like a much longer bear market. Because if you look at the SPX throughout time, right? Look at the 2000s, 2008. This is a lot of consolidation. And why? Because we had a massive bull run, right? From the 80s to the really like the late 90s. We had this massive bull run, and a lot of consolidation, massive bull run. So we're likely going to hopefully consolidate in the 7 to 8Ks, maybe mid 6s. Either way, things are still looking bullish. Not too worried. Kind of back to the dollar. My scenario again is possible consolidation. The only thing I'm really worried about is if we make a double bottom here. So keeping our eyes out for that. But for now, we're still sitting right at resistance. Ultimately, moving down is very bullish for crypto and stocks. Gotcha. Just going to look at total real quick. Total briefly touched. I don't know why my line got moved. Looks like we hit resistance, rejected resistance. Guys, we're so overdue for a pullback. It's not even funny. Yeah, we're at historical levels on RSI. I've been saying it for weeks. Even if you're trading this 40... Okay, so there's a big difference. A lot of people, like most people in this space, are not traders. They buy and hold, and hopefully they make money, right? So if you've bought this kind of like 55 to 69K little move, you're up like 10%, 12% right now. That's not significant. Again, we could pull back we could pull back a lot harder. We could pull back all the way to 52K. But for now, we're kind of dancing between support and resistance. We actually did it. We went up and then came right back down to support. So hopefully we consolidate in here. That'd be, the most bullish case scenario. Bring this RSI back down, so we can get that kind of next run upwards. Let's look at the daily. Even the daily. We're at the highest RSI has ever been, right? You're at a consistent level. And this is what I kept pointing out, right? Every time we hit this level, we see some type of correction. So I'm glad it's happening now. This is, a very good thing. It doesn't mean that we're panicking and we think a bear market's coming. It means that we think there's opportunity to buy more. Bitcoin goes up and alts remaining relatively stable, but when Bitcoin fell a bit, alts crash like crazy. If Bitcoin gets a real correction, will alts dump like crazy? Alts really aren't dumping that bad. A lot of these alts, unless Bitcoin dominance has recovered a little bit. But ultimately, alts haven't gotten hit as hard. Now, I know on paper, like if you look at it today, you're like, wow, Doge is down 24%. Okay, well, over the last 8 days, Doge went up 150%. Over the last 8 days, Bitcoin went up, 35%. So put things in perspective, alts have actually been outperforming Bitcoin over the last week and a half or so. So, and a lot of them pumped very hard. Look at something like Gala. Talking last couple of weeks, 75% move. What's another good one? Like Fetch. Fetch 89%. So, of course, these are going to correct the absolute hardest. Let's look at Tether dominance. So, again, this is another area of confluence. We were super overextended, oversold, right? At some point, it has to bounce. Likely going to bear flag in here, right? We get that bear flag. Look for trades on that. And now, again, for those who don't know, Tether is inversely correlated to Bitcoin. When this goes down, Bitcoin goes up. So we want to see this continue down. So we want to see a continuation pattern. Likely we'll get it. I really don't see a narrative to be bearish anymore. Not anymore looking forward, but at least over the next 6 to 12 months. We have, and let's just cover it now. So for those of you that don't live under a rock, you know that the ETF got passed. ETF gets passed here, right? On that peak right before that. What was that, like a 25, 30% drop? ETF gets passed. We dump quite significantly. We pop back up. In my opinion, that was a relief rally. I saw what looked like a head and shoulders. Also, it follows that narrative that we dump, correct, Go further down. Why? Because it's a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And on top of that, what makes more sense? If you're a fund and can control the market, wouldn't you want to buy Bitcoin, right? You know that you're going to fill like BlackRock and all these different huge institutions that are buying. They're buying 10,000 Bitcoin a day. That's why we did this. That's why we had this ginormous move up. Not ginormous, but it's why we had such a volatile move up with no correction. They're buying 10,000 Bitcoin a day. That's why we're bouncing, because they're probably buying more now. Anyways, if they were going to buy 10,000 a day or 1,000 a day, whatever it is, would it not make sense to buy on the way down? These are professional financial institutions. This is how they operate, right? Like, you look at the entirety of the kind of bear market. I know BlackRock started buying down here, right? We know that. That is a fact. So wouldn't they want to do the same thing here and like buy a range or buy slowly? I mean, when you're buying 10,000 Bitcoin a day, every single day for weeks on end, I mean, what is this, like 3-4 weeks? I mean, billions and billions of dollars being funneled into Bitcoin. Of course, price is going to rise. Market's going to act irrational, and you're going to continue up. And there's no amount of TA that is going to assist you with that, both going up and down. The thing that I was trying to say is, hey, you know, we're overdue for a correction. RSI 3 different times was at a point where we see large corrections. And again, now we have divergence. They posted the divergences this morning. No one cared. You know, everyone's longing the break of all-time highs. We ended up dumping. Guys, you don't buy. And again, this is my biggest point. For those of you who've been a while, you've heard this before, right? You know what I'm about to say. You don't buy green. You buy red. So regardless, if this is going to continue moving upwards, I'm not buying it, right? I'm waiting for that correction. I'm waiting for that red. I'm waiting for that consolidation. And buying meaning trading, right? I'm not going to long something that's up 40% with all of my other indicators overextended. And if I miss a move, I miss a damn move. Like, my system didn't catch this. Hardly anyone's system caught it because we pumped due to a supply shock. We didn't pump because there was a double bottom or there was anything significant. We literally full sent because 10,000 Bitcoin every single day for the last 4 or 5 weeks is being bought. What's up, yes, sir? How's it going? Hope all is well for you, my man. So speaking of the daily, let's look at a couple things. So one, we already knew that we were very overextended. We were at a point on Total One and on the Bitcoin Weekly that was just ridiculous. You know, it can't go up forever, guys. And just so that you know, in 2020, every 100% move ish saw a big pullback, or at least consolidation. We move up 100%, you know, consolidation, correction, up 100%, larger correction, up again, correction before making that head and shoulders and starting. In my opinion, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack on this, for me, this was the end of the bull run, at least for Bitcoin. I know a lot of alts, you know, full sent, and Bitcoin kind of retested highs. That's great, but this is not a bull market. Believe it or not, this is not a bull market. Why? Because we're not exceeding highs. We're not increasing value. The same Bitcoin that you held here, you know, if you didn't sell here and watched it go all the way down and then it went here, okay, cool. You held through all of this and it's still the same price. That is not a bull market, at least in traditional classical financial definition of what a bull market is. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're in Australia. Can I make a thread on TP strategy for this bull run? So I actually have one all over my Patreon account. I really don't share that information on Twitter or just like I'll share it on my live stream just because I can explain it further, but I don't share it on Twitter because I'm limited on how much I can post. I'm limited on, you know, who's seeing it, you know, and a lot of people personally, like, there's so many stupid people on Twitter that don't know how to read, or they take things and they make their own ideas, or they do this or do that. And it's like, not that I'm liable for what you do, but I want to try and protect you. And if I have some kind of control over that, not control like I'm controlling your money, but like control over the information that you're seeing in the way that it's coming to you, it's just more valuable. So for that, you know, one of these days, like, let's say Bitcoin pumps to like 150K, right? Likely will. Let's say we do something like this. We'll talk about take profit strategies when we get there. For now, I'm not at all interested in take profit strategies because one, I'm not in a trade, and two, I think we haven't even started the bull run yet. How long can this pullback consolidation last before returning higher? It'll last. It'll be quicker than you think it is. I mean, I can't put a pinpoint date. I'm not a genie. If I was a genie, I wouldn't be here. I'd just wish myself a bunch of money in a yacht and go and be in the Caribbean. That's not a shot at you. Just trying to be funny. Kramer is mocking us on Twitter. Probably the dip doesn't last. Yeah. I saw that. Keeping it real as always. Keep coming back for your info and tweets. I sold all November 21. Thanks to you. Oh, it's awesome. Glad to see you sold the top. I hope you saw the tweets to buy in 2022 or the end of 2022. Right, TA time. Bitcoin Daily. We have all these bearish divergences. We talked about them. Everything is pointing towards a correction, right? That's all I can say, pointing towards a correction. There's not a shortable opportunity, and personally, I wouldn't short it knowing the supply shock. Let's go look at the 4-hour. We just started the dump. The biggest thing is I like the RSI reset. I like how we've returned to the mean on RSI. Honestly, that low is probably in. Whether or not we retest it or not is up for grabs. What I would like to see is maybe the daily dips a little bit more. We see that correct further. We get those bullish divergences, and we kind of move in this sideways bull flagging looking thing, right? And just to give you a comparison, because I know some of you are like, oh, well, we're in a bull market. Oh, like shut the hell up, right? You don't know what you're talking about, because in 2020 we did the exact same thing. We literally hit all-time highs and nuked like 20%, almost 18%. The day this happened on Thanksgiving, so at like 6 p.m. At least my time, because 8 p.m. is when the next daily candle for trading view happened. So like 6 p.m. the dump started, and by like midnight it finished. So will we get a retest of the lows? I'm unsure. But what you're looking for in terms of buying, so when you get this, right, volume's going down, prices going down, prices consolidating here. We know that we're very bullish. This is a nice bull flag. Here's your biggest kicker, right? Bullish divergences. I believe on the 4-hour there was something. If not, you could trade a simple diagonal and say, hey, any of these breakouts and retests, long them, see what happens. Get another bull flag here, and we continue moving higher. That's, in my opinion, what's about to happen. You need a lot of buying pressure to break that all-time high considerably and to maintain above. If we're this overextended, okay, maybe we break briefly, but we don't want to deviate, right? And that's kind of what I've been pointing towards, is we don't want to deviate. But the 4-hour's looking decent. We're kind of holding something in here. We're kind of back in... I'm not sure if you consider this support, because this is like uncharted territory and it has been for a long time. So I almost wonder if it's like 58K as support, because we bounced right at 58. Maybe we bounce between 58, 64, maybe 65 for the next couple weeks, couple days. But we need more technical signals to take trades and to buy. So 55K is a good entry. I missed the huge move up because I was waiting on 35K. I can't say. I don't even know if we're going to touch 55K. Yeah, 58 is pretty solid. I mean, this is kind of where you just buy bits and pieces, right? For those of you that missed the whole move, you're not screwed, but you don't just full send your account up here. You have to do it right. Like, research what a DCA is, please. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is back to pumping, unfortunately. I actually really like this. For those of you that are going to be like, oh, well, I want my altcoins to pump. Like, so do I. I'm in a lot of alts. Right? I've bought a lot of alts. I'm about to buy even more alts. Because at this point, any extra capital, like let's say we go to 150K, you're looking at a 2x, 2.5x, right? What if Gala does a 10x, right? There's better risk to reward ratio longing alts at this point, and generally there isn't. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. So a breakout here on the weekly. My opinion's good. The more that Bitcoin takes over and continues to break highs and put in gains, like if we can get to 100K and Bitcoin dominance is still pumping, golden. That means we're going to have a hell of an alt season. That means when this does reverse, right? Say it does reverse, like Bitcoin's, maybe like 110, maybe 100K, somewhere up here. That doesn't mean it's going to stop. It could get to 200K. We've seen it before. But that means that alt season is going to be huge because a lot of this liquidity is now going to go into alts as this dumps, and alts are going to outperform the hell out of Bitcoin. Because in my opinion, probably going to see the lows again. Right. Crypto's getting popular. The Ethereum ETF's coming. Other ETFs are coming. Bitcoin dominance is going to continually decrease over time. But yeah, you have to wait for a weekly close. You can't just assume, right? I mean, because we could go into Saturday or Friday and maybe this turns back red. And now we're looking at a potential somewhat altcoin rally. Do you think this crypto cycle will be short? No, I think we just broke all-time highs because the ETF got passed. The market is ultimately bullish. Like equities are insanely bullish. On top of that, all these institutions were buying 10,000 Bitcoin a day. Of course, it's going to be at all-time highs. So I don't think this cycle will be short. I actually think this cycle is going to put in some massive gains. Because like I said, my thought process, even before the ETF was passed, this is probably the last leg of the S&P 500 before we start some type of longer consolidation. And again, a good example, 1990, late 90s to 2008, right? Another example, I believe, is the 70s to 80s. Need to double check. When you have, what is this? 70s to, I'm on the weekly. So you have 70s up to like 80s before we broke highs. I mean, we were kind of in this ginormous range here for, what is that, 10, 15 years? So maybe we get some kind of 10-year, it'll probably be 7 years because we spent 3 already. But we'll probably get something like this before we continue moving higher. And you're talking about a reset in the 30s. It happens every 10 or 15 years. So for Bitcoin, that ETF gets passed. We'll see that large run just like we will on the S&P 500. You cash out and everything. You know, you buy an island, you retire, and you stop paying attention to American politics like I am. The short cycle thing fundamentally makes no sense. Pumping at 25, then a huge recession after election year, etc. Probably. I believe correction's done. No, we haven't even corrected yet. Like none of our, look at our weekly chart. Guys, if you want to know if a correction is done, look at your weekly chart or look at your daily chart. The daily's still leaning overbought. We don't even have divergence. We're probably going to consolidate here for a little while. Right? Look at this, which turned into consolidation. Right? This is a 66-day consolidation. Right? We could consolidate for the next 2 months. Everyone gets bored. Retail gets bored. Maybe alts do well. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But asking if correction is done after 1 day when the weekly hasn't even closed red, like nothing's really corrected. Stop watching 30-minute charts, right? Of course we're gonna bounce all over the place. It's a volatile move. It's a volatile market. But, and this isn't a shot at anybody, but just look at the higher time frames. If your weekly chart still looks like this, we went from RSI, what is this? RSI 86 to 83? Does that seem like a correction to you? Probably not. Yeah, I'm totally with you, Wall Street pickers. Don't stare at a 15-minute chart, especially during this bull run. Right? In my opinion, we're going to start a bull run. We won't be in the bull run until we break all-time highs. But here's the thing, right? You and I made this mistake in the last bull market. I thought that I was this great trader that could outtrade it. I thought, hey, and did I make great trades? Did I make good money? Yes. Don't get me wrong. I made a lot of money last bull run. But I could have doubled or tripled it had I not tried to trade. Had I just held, so I ultimately sold it like 55K, a lot of my stuff before turning kind of macro bearish. Had I had held a lot of the Bitcoin I bought here, and even some stance here, I could have made 3 to 4 times, especially some of the alts I had. So in my opinion, you can certainly have some money to trade this. And if you want to trade it, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But have something that sits there and just takes gains, right? Like I have a very, very large spot position that if it 10x's, I'm good for life, right? I am less worried about trading that than I am just saying like, hey, I just want to make my gains and leave. It is a non-ego thing for me anymore. I don't care if I just sit back the whole time and watch YouTube videos as this market's going crazy and I cash out. It'll be the best trade I've ever made. And for me, it's not an ego thing. I don't need to sign in every day and say, oh, the 4 hour looks like this, the 1 day looks like this, blah, 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 blah. You will never outtrade the market. And I'm trying to be honest and transparent. I thought I could try, and I wouldn't say I failed because I came out I came out with gains, but the market outperformed me, and it always will. Oh, has the correction reached the lowest point? Maybe. I don't know. Honestly, I could see this being a bit deeper, and then they start the crazy buying again. I mean, our last period of consolidation on the daily was here at 53, 52K. It would not surprise me if we dropped all the way there. Made a much larger bull flag. Because again, the weekly, the daily, everything's pretty overbought. I mean, the daily's starting to come back into decent territory. Damn, a lot of these alts did get absolutely slaughtered. So, I mean, but this is a good thing. This is what I've been saying. Now is your chance to get into some of these alts, right? Dogecoin, great example, right? We just dumped 25%. I know a lot of you are going to see this and be like, oh, but, I'm so scared. Red candles. Like, this is where you buy. The risk reward on alts is much higher. Or excuse me, the reward to risk ratio is much fairer on alts than it is on Bitcoin right now. Because if Bitcoin goes to, let's say, 200K, it's 3.5x. If Doge goes to its all-time high and does a 4x or something, you're looking at, 5x, 6x, 7x, depending on where it goes. Something like EOS. Let's say EOS. Say we just go back to highs. EOS goes back to highs. You're looking at 14x. Bitcoin's not going to do a 14x from highs. I hate to break this to you. Will it? Maybe over the next 10 years, maybe. It's a possibility. But this cycle, probably not. Probably not. Ego is Capo, who's still calling for 12K. Yeah, I have no ego when I'm trading. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it, and that's fine with me. That's how you grow as a trader. That's how you don't get caught in a cycle like Profit Blue, Capo, Crypto Savvy. Guys, those guys, they might have made money. I have no idea. I have no idea what their financial situation is, but they could have made more setting their ego aside and not looking at one piece of data. So it's like a perfect example is when you're in politics, right? Like let's say you're looking at something that happened. If you don't look at both sides, you're screwing yourself. You have to educate yourself on both sides before you can make your own decision. Whether that be on anything, trading, anything with life. You have to look at both sides of the story before you can make a conclusion, because if you don't, you're missing 50% of the data that could help you make a better decision. Let's look at Ethereum. Interested in Ethereum, maybe Ethereum to Bitcoin dominance. Wow, this dropped all the way back to 3,200. How far was that drop? 16%. Crazy. So Ethereum looks like we rejected. Excuse me. Rejected resistance. Yeah, still very overbought. Again, would not surprise me if we did something like that. Maybe not over like 6 months or whatever, but some consolidation would be very solid. Perma barriers will be perma veilers. That's their brand. They don't want to lose followers, I think. Yeah. I never understood that. I always thought, like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to have like 200, 300,000 followers. And part of the reason I don't get followers is because I say the least popular thing. And then when it hit, sometimes it hits people like, oh, he was right about that. So, when price is dumping like it did in this area, everyone was saying 12, 10K, and I was saying buy. Do the unpopular thing and buy. And I lost followers. And look where we are now. And even in 2021, November 2020, I was like, do not buy this. This is not stable. This is not volume you want to see in a bull market. This is really bad. Don't buy. Sell. Lost followers. So, it is what it is. If people want to listen, they'll listen. If they don't, then fuck them. I don't care. Got my ETH orders filled to the dollar at 3,200. That's impressive. Good for you. That's awesome. So, okay, let's look at some alts. You guys want to see some alts I'm looking at. So the first one I'm looking at is File. I don't know. It just hasn't done shit. I guess it kind of has from the bottom. But it really hasn't moved at all. All right, it's up. At the peak, it did like a 250%. It's got a long way to go, in my opinion. So, File. It's funny. Maybe I had my resistances wrong, or maybe I needed to redraw them, but look what we are retesting. If this is a box, it just retests to the bottom of the box. That weekly RSI is coming down. I'll probably wait for weekly close before I get in anything, but File is a solid one. EOS. EOS is a long way to go. Nice inverted head and shoulders. Look what it's doing. It's retesting the neckline. Very, very bullish. Gala's a solid one. Ignore the writing. I write. Again, retesting the breakout. Pretty solid. And then possibly what has ICP done? Possibly ICP. This is a very large range. When this is ready to move, it's going to go. So all of these coins, and notice one thing, right? All of these coins are in like a larger range. I mean, if ICP was down here, right, below this red, I could say it's in a range. But all these coins that were in this range, compare it to Link, right? These low caps. Go to the Link chart. Because Link's kind of like a higher cap. Link's pretty much like Ethereum. Look at Link's weekly, right? Link's been doing pretty good, right? Had that big range, pumped, consolidated, pumped, retested the consolidation this week. Look at ICP. It's doing the same thing, just delayed. When ICP broke out, Link was consolidating. So, oh, yeah, and Crow. Yeah, Crow's a solid one. So look at Crow. Crow's actually still in its range. So Crow's in this giant range. Look what happened to Link in its range. Look what's happening to Crow. So again, another solid one. Hopefully you guys learned something. I am going to end the stream. Guys, if you're new to trading, you get 15% off fees for life if you trade on Coincatch. That's where most of my portfolio is. I trust them. I talk to the CEO all the time. And they always have all these different trading competitions for a lot of money, so you can get in on this, right? It's free money if you win. With all that said, guys, be patient, users management, good luck trading. And I forgot to add, for anyone that's new, I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern for about 30 minutes to an hour. So, if you're interested in that schedule, it's a little off schedule today. I saw we had some movement, so I wanted to talk about it, inform you guys, let you know. But yeah, we got a free Discord.